with Israel. And to talk about this in detail, I'm joined by a foreign policy analyst, Bolu Michael-Biyi. Good evening. Glad to have you join me, Bolu.
Good evening. Nice to be here.
Right. Now, how significant is the accusation by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken that China's supply of critical components to Russia is fueling the threat to Ukraine and European security in the context of ongoing tensions in the region?
Well, it's very significant because it reflects the mood of the United States as regards, probably showing some level of frustration in terms that they're not seeing much progress in their effort in Ukraine. They're probably not seeing returns as they expected. However, I feel it's very important for the United States to come clean because they can't be accusing China of something they're also guilty of. In law, we say ex dolo malo non resurrectio, which means that he who must come to equity must come in clean hands. And U.S. they're even in the more they're more liable in the sense that China they're just providing parts that allows Russia to be able to produce ammunition. But the U.S. on the other hand are actually providing the ammunition to Ukraine, so they are even more liable, so to speak. And China, of course, will always seek their own economic interest because they just want to make the money. They are just doing business with Russia. If Ukraine approaches China as well for ammunition or parts, they will sell to them. So I think for China, it's just business interest. For the US, it's more than that.
Now, what mechanisms are available or even diplomatic channels are available for the U.S. to pressure China into halting its supply of critical components to Russia? And then what are the potential consequences that could arise if China fails to comply with the U.S. demands?
Okay, I think the first thing would be they should seek how to negotiate. They should try to negotiate with China. They've met, Blinken has met with Xi Jinping, and also last November, I think Xi Jinping and Joe Biden met. So the U.S. and China, they had like two high-profile meetings, within the space of 1 year, which is a good sign and a reflection that they have a strong bilateral, relationship. So they should try to explore the negotiation that they've been having, and also maybe mount pressure on countries or leverage international alliances, and countries that have the ear of China can put pressure on China for them to comply. In terms of implication, it does have economic and political implications if China does not listen, in the sense that it might strain their relationship, and it might heighten the geopolitical tension in a way.
Now, just to follow up on international community you made reference to, how do you think China's cooperation with Russia in supplying critical components affects relationships with other global powers such as European Union and also NATO member states? And what implication does this have for broader international security dynamics?
Well, the NATO is an alliance, same as the European Union. So it's a one for all. They're both one for all and all for one institution. So it will strain the relationship of China with these other international organizations or blocs, because they will see them, the EU and NATO will see them see China as enemy of progress. And I believe China would not want to, tread that path, because they would want to protect their own economic interest with other European Union countries. They have a lot to lose if they don't have a good relationship with Europe or even with NATO countries. And if in any way, by any means, they decide to pursue their objective, it will lead to things can escalate and lead to the severance of political tie and just increase international instability. And I hope that does not happen.
Now let's talk about the complexities of U.S.-China relationship, looking at economic interdependence and also competition. How likely is it that U.S. will follow through on its threat to take action if China does not see support for Russia's military efforts in Ukraine?
Well, it depends on the severity of, the situation there, and also the perceived threat in a way. the US also we try to protect their own interests. So if they see that their interest is being threatened in any way, there's a chance that they might want to follow through, with their intentions. But I believe they will want to tread softly because they would want to consider the bilateral relationship that they have. They don't want to sever that tie because these are two heavyweights in the international scene, and it can lead to international instability. Even the crisis that we're seeing with Israel and Iran, some thought it's going to be the beginning of a third world war. Now imagine if China and the USA, NATO, EU are having a major face-off. That's major international instability. So I think they will consider these factors and weigh their options and try to ensure as much as possible that things do not escalate. So I think the US would want to tread softly if they ever want to confront China in any way.
Well, time like this, they will tell. We'll just have to wait and see how things unfold. But thank you so much for your insight on the news. Bolu Michael-Biyi, Foreign Affairs Policy Analyst. Thank you once again.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're watching Beyond.